Hi, everybody, and welcome to this absolute confusion that this stream is going to be. You know me, it's been a hot minute. I am Dennis. You can see that this is my channel, OKSDM, where I make mistakes running games so you don't have to. But today, I'm going to make mistakes designing games instead. I have this whole sagas thing going on. That is unrelated to what we're doing tonight, though I'm sure it's going to have some influence in the actual design. But more importantly, I have some lovely guests with me today, and I'm very excited to introduce all of them. Let's go in a circle. So, Taylor, who are you? Hell yeah. Jonas. I have a very similar intro to horror story. But what about you, Sphinx? How do you feel about horror? We did. I'm excited too, because I have no idea what's about to happen. We are here to design a solo horror TTRPG. The goal is to have it one page so that we could do it in like a reasonable amount of time. But as I mentioned, my experience with solo RPGs is nil, not a zilch, none. I've played duet TTRPGs that double as solo RPGs, but I haven't actually gotten into the whole journaling aspect of it. So, anybody got any ideas where to start? Yeah, the base mechanic and like what the actual interface is. Interesting. Oh, you are? Huh? You shouldn't be. Is anyone that's on stream, can you hear our guests? Or can you just hear me? Our first tech gremlins. Oh no! Oh, great. Alright. Well, thanks, Tipsy. Oh no, why is that? Weird. Nope, I don't think that's the, I think Tipsy's right. Our theme might end up being tech gremlins. All right. Well, we'll brainstorm that, and we'll be right back with when we come back from figuring out tech. It might be a hot minute, so please stick around and listen to these funky, spooky tunes while while we figure out what the heck's going on. All right, see you in a second. All right. We're just here to see if you can hear our guests.
Hello.
Bippity boppity boopity boppity.
I'm Taylor.
Oh, now I can't hear our guests, but all of you. Wait, I
Oh,
can do this.
no.
I can do this. Hang on. Almost there. Aha. Someone say something entertaining that I can't hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear everyone except for Jonas.
Amazing. Wait, Jonas, say something.
I can't. You are talking on stream. It's just that you're very quiet, so your audio bar is very low. I don't think it's on your end. I think it's a OBS. Like we have to turn you up there. Because you're loud here in Video Ninja, so is something on OBS's end or Video Ninja's control end. Video. Yeah. Oh, Video Ninja, yeah, it's like the number one thing I always use.
I'm glad we have an expert here because I would be totally lost without you.
Yeah, like Video Ninja is really good and adaptable and stuff. I think that the hard part is
that I haven't climbed yet.
Yeah, it's just one of those moments. So it's like it's hard to know on the back end if you're not the director, so I can't see everything you're doing. So the other thing I can think of is like there's volume buttons under us, so ours can be very low, or on the OBS mixer, to turn us up there.
Oh, it goes up to 800%.
Yeah, it can go very high.
What about now, Jonas? It looks like you're coming through on stream, but I can't hear you, and I don't know why. I can hear Sphinx, I can hear Taylor, no Jonas, though.
Wow.
Yeah, now you're very loud on our end now. So that means turn down here. OBS is making you quiet.
Oh, I know. Oh, I got it. I know what it was. Okay. All right. You had a compressor, and you were the only one with a compressor. And now... Yes! Oh, our queen has saved us.
Victory?
Yeah, I think that does solidify that we need to make a one-page solo horror RPG about running an actual play. And everything goes wrong. This is a very small sliver of audience we're pitching this to at this point.
Listen, we've got more than one. That's all that matters. I think whatever else we do, this is Kismet, and I do love the proposed idea of doing a tech gremlin game. Here's the pitch. You're on a spaceship or like sci-fi base, and you have to survive, and things keep going wrong, and you got to figure it out and get out.
Ooh. In keeping with that, I it's a sudden idea. So, the game takes place within the space of a day, and every hour you roll a dice to see what weird tech thing happens next.
I love temporal mechanics.
Okay. Yes. Spaceship survival a la, I've never seen the show, but I'm imagining Firefly.
There is an episode of Firefly that I was literally thinking about. Yes, Out of Gas. It's one of the best episodes of the show.
Where River becomes the ship.
I was specifically when I was like freaking out earlier silently because no one could hear me. I was like, oh my god, this is just like that one Firefly episode.
All right, so do we want dice to be our main mechanic? Do we want a deck of cards? Do we want tarot? What else have I seen?
You want Jenga?
Oh yeah, Jenga.
I think cards could be good. I also I have a mechanic that I used for a short solo of mine where you played a fixer in a cyberpunk city, and you would track the jobs you were managing by you'd have like certain levels of dice. You would roll the die, put it on a card, and tick the die down as time went on. And I feel like something in that space, it could be, we could just use clocks like Blades in the Dark, but something like that could be a really good way to track the just various stuff going wrong on your ship. So like every hour you figure out, did something new go wrong? Did something old get worse? Are you safe for the hour? And then you tick every active clock, and you have to solve things before they fill up, or you explode.
Which then poses the question: how do we go about? So, are we tracking what is occurring? What weird like tech gremlin-y thing is happening using the clock? And if so, are we trying to push the clock backwards to clear the clock? And then if the clock fills up for however many hours we put on the day, so let's say 24 hours, it's a 24 section clock. If that whole entire clock fills up, do we die?
Oh,
or the ship
good
explodes,
question.
or
I think
this is.
I really like the idea of having.
I'm. The concept is coming to me where these aren't just tech gremlins; these are time gremlins, and we have 12 hours until the universe ends, and there are mechanics that keep pushing the clock backwards, so we can like keep delaying how long it is until the universe ends.
Oh. I love the idea of having one big clock on your sheet that keeps filling up that you can mess with. I think anything that you're going to edit more than like a couple times, we should find a different way to track, because then you're like, you know how terrible it gets trying to sketch in and erase and sketch and erase on a piece of paper. Yeah. So one big clock that you can tick or move back sounds good. And then for any smaller problems, we could use dice or cards or something. Or just have a static clock that doesn't. You can only go one way. I like the idea of being able to push back clocks somehow.
Yeah.
I was like, can our dice be the clock? So like, if we do 12 hours, so you have your 12-sided dice, and each of those represents the chart of like that. And then what's the next smallest dice?
10.
Yeah.
So you will use a 12-sided dice twice to represent 2 hours going down, but you have to eliminate the 12 and 11 choice. I mean, you eliminate 12 as a choice, so you can't roll a 12 after the next one, and keep going, and then you just keep on going, shrinking with your amount of dice, and your chart keeps on shrinking of how bad it would get.
Oh, so early on, so you could get something bad early on, but you have the least bad options at the top.
Yes.
And then as it shrink, okay, cool. I love shrinking dice. I love giving the D12 a usage. I love dice as something other than rolling for mechanics. I'm in love.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like as the dice gets smaller, the problems get worse,
Worse.
and worse, and worse.
Like your
Mm.
And if
goal
you
is
let-
not to live. Well, not to like we're not trying to kill you, but your goal is like this is tough.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of horror RPGs I've seen, and I love this about them, that they just like, yeah, your survival is not really expected. Like 10 Candles is a favorite of mine, and when the
Yep.
last candle goes out in 10 Candle, anyone who's still alive just dies.
Yeah.
So it's fine if this ends. I think this can always end with you potentially dying, but maybe you manage to, save the time stream or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I was truly like, I've never done a stream or a group thing like this before. I have no idea where we're going to start or how this is going to go. And I love that technical difficulties led us to an idea that we all seem to be clicking on.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's meant to be. So we start with 12 hours. Do we want? I don't know how solo RPGs usually go as far as like character creation, right?
Oh, let me bust out one.
Can be as complex or simple as we can fit on the page.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the ones I've seen, since they're focusing on being like journaling focused, I like ones that don't have like strict mechanical like stats exactly, but like more abstract things like tags or items that you can just like, if you can work it into your fiction, you get some kind of bonus.
Yeah. There's also like a couple of mechanics that I've seen where it's like starting out, you roll like a d6 or a d10 to choose like either where you're starting or like what kind of items you have access to from the beginning.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's a cool way to like do a character creation.
Could roll for I love like where you start on the ship, and that'll influence what problems you start with. Maybe you have a random like roll that you had like.
That means we have to have a ship.
A ship.
We have to have like a ship and rooms on the ship, and I mean I love the idea, but also we have 2 hours to do this. I'm trying to avoid
I think we could. Sure, we can keep it abstract, right? Like it's up to the player as they come up with problems or whatever to lay things out. It's why I like index cards, right? Because you can just write engine room on an index card and like cockpit on an index card, and those can be anywhere on a table, and you sort of understand the relationship between them.
Very like Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the rooms just kind of randomly, you can get the master bedroom is right next to the entrance for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking of there's a video game called Tharsis, which is very much like it really plays like a board game where there's a Mars mission ship that has a bunch of rooms and modules, and it's very similar to this. Like a problem spawns every turn, and you have to send your astronauts to go fix things, and they can only move through rooms, adjacently if there's no hazard there. So I think we could abstract the hell out of that. How are we for swearing on this stream, by the way?
100%. Go for it.
What's our rating? Okay, great. We could abstract the hell out of that to just like something with cards, and just like we're not going to give you the layout, but you just got to figure out like, every room can be connected to up to 2 other rooms, and you got to place it to make it make sense or something like that.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So,
and now you've given me a new game to look up. Thanks.
Tharsis is great. I've played a lot of it. The mechanics are really simple, but it's really addictive and fun. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
Not sponsored. I just like it.
Same.
So I'm thinking essentially like big picture, the player of this game will come in, they will make their character, figure out what they have, then they get to design their ship that they're going to use to try to save the universe. And then they're going to fly that ship into, I don't know, the wormhole or whatever destination we come up with.
We could have we can also just not have them design the ship up front, but just as they go, if they spawn a new room,
Ooh.
then they decide, yeah, keep the overhead low. Taylor, you were pulling out a couple examples there. Anything that's giving inspiration?
I think like for character creation in Jude's world, you use your initials to create your character.
Oh my god, it's like one of those find your name things. That's so cute.
Yeah,
That's dope. I like that.
that's how you build your character. Or like you use your name or the character. Well, this character is always named Jude, but like it's just 2 letters here, and you said Jude is, and then I'm T. Is an outdoors kid who gets straight A's. My initials.
Ah, that's cool. I've also
And
seen...
Final Girl, there's not really a character creation in here because you're
Okay.
just the final girl.
Right, we know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kind of the same mechanic with the last tea shop. You're not so much creating the mechanic for yourself as the character. You're creating what the tea shop is by rolling the dice and choosing
Right.
like, where the tea shop is.
Yeah. I think the main thing with a character creation, I feel like maybe roll a d6 to know what your role is on the ship. Are you
Yeah.
the captain, the mechanic and stuff? Something nice and small.
I think that's good.
And just
Yeah.
leave it more vague if you want to come up with a big story for yourself.
So there are other people on the ship. Because there's other roles that need to be filled.
There were.
Ah,
That could be
there
one.
were.
That could be one of the events.
Oh, you could find someone. Yeah.
The events could be like on the big one and be like, is people on the ship with you or not? Or are you hallucinating?
That. Oh, you know what?
Ooh.
That's really cool. And then, so say you can find. This is something I struggled with in my words, like how to represent like and quote unquote NPCs in a solo game. But I like the idea of you find someone on the ship, and then like they become a party member essentially, and you can double up on solving problems.
Mhm.
So it gives you a better chance to actually get through stuff.
It could be like almost like a component thing, like like the engine's broken, but it will take 2 people to fix it. So you would need to find 2 people, or is you or one other person.
Right. We could have stuff that's like it'll take 2 people, or if you have the special role, or if you have like the special item.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple different ways you can get there. If you happen not to roll anything, you can eventually just brute force it.
Yeah, I think like we have our page of events, and the way I see it broken down is you roll for your event, and then below it says ways that you can solve it, and then it just have the nitpicky like 2 people fix this, or you got mechanic roll, or you happen to have this as your starting equipment item. If you don't, if it says if none of these fit, then this is your consequence.
That's cool.
And you have a certain amount of, because we're doing time, right? You have a certain amount of time you have to fix it. You need to get one of these solutions before a consequence happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's I mean, I'm so excited for all of these details we've already come up with. I love how quickly it's flowing. Let's back up. What are you what is the player going to actually be doing? What is our we didn't pick a resolution mechanic. We picked a lot of other things to do with dice and cards, but not like what are you actually going to do to solve these problems?
I liked the
is it maybe
like you need to have certain things. like something takes 2 people to fix it, you need to have another living crewmate with you in order to do this solution.
Yeah.
The only time you roll dice is at the hour mark, when you progress to the next hour.
Okay, so you roll. So your hour dice are what are going to give you,
The events.
yeah, events, and that's how you find certain things. So, what if there's like a we're gonna have a lot of tables, I guess, but a like
We can utilize, because like everybody has a D20, so we can utilize the D20 for the next the award tables, like
Yeah.
So the equipment table or something like that. So they could say, in the event of something, please refer to the rewards table, roll your D20 to see what you got.
Sure. Yeah.
Because in character creation we have your starting kit, so they can probably roll it 3 times, so they're good at 3 items and stuff. Because I think the feeling of this ship, it's like we're running low on supplies and everything, so we have to have them struggling a lot in the beginning.
Right.
Maybe the stress, I think like right now is like I think the player needs to feel more stress. And so I think
Yes.
so like I think we need to go back to figure out the setting, the theme more of like why do we have this spaceship? Like we're on space, and now we just established that there is crew people maybe on this ship, but what is the stress? Like, are we trying to land on the planet, or did we get a warning alert on our phones that says this is happening in 12 hours? You need to prepare the ship to look like this before it blows up. Like, what is that beginning event to make them feel stressed?
Did we somehow like get caught up in an event horizon and we only have X amount of time to escape it?
Yeah, I think let's keep it on the simpler end there, and just let the player come up with if they want to add the flavor of exactly what caused this. Just like, yeah, you hit a space wedgie like in Star Trek, and your ship is busted and it's gonna explode if you don't fix it up. If you have like X active problems, or if you don't solve everything by the time you hit 12 hours.
Yeah. Main conflict. Like, rescue would be coming in 12 hours, please.
Yeah, survive until rescue is a good one.
Yeah, survive until dawn. Like a until dawn kind of moment. Because like on the event table, we could say like a crew member dies or something more stressful, and so I don't want us to be limited on a lot.
If we wanted to make it actually much more stressful, we can say you only have, I don't know how long each of these are gonna take, but we can say you have an actual clock timing you for how long you have to solve all the problems that occur in that hour. Or you have, 10 minutes for each hour in fake game time. Or we can just make it 1-to-1 and say it's not 12 hours, it's 3 hours. And if when 3 hours is done, if you haven't, if once 3 hours is done, it's done. That way we can have, it would be nice as a player to say, okay, I'm going to sit down and play this game. I'm going to clear my schedule for 3 hours because it can't possibly go longer than that. Like at 3 hours, it ends. Sort of like Alice is Missing.
I was just thinking Alice is Missing. I think we have like, we would need like a better framework for that, like Alice has. Because if this is like a 1-page journaling type game, then someone who writes slow is gonna just get less done
Yeah.
than someone
We
who
gotta
writes
think about the
true.
accessibility.
What
Um,
when I played Alice is Missing, I type like 150 words per minute, and none of my friends do, and it was a problem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah, so I think with this, come on, brain, come back. I think right now with the more pressure on the consequences of events and stuff is make them like pick and choose what they want to do because of, let's say we have a mechanic that be like, if 3 things are broken, you're automatically about to hit the 2-hour mark. Like you decide to not like fix anything and everything, you about to hit like you only got 2 hours left, so you're way smaller down or something as a big consequences. So that leads pressure that you have to like fix things or sacrifice things. So like in the consequences, so like let's say like you need 2 people to fix an engine, but you haven't found a crew member yet. So if none of those slots fit you, then the consequences, they say if you do want to fix it, it will take 4 hours. So you lose time to fix that one thing. And that is a choice you can do. Or you can choose to ignore it and you just have that broken thing that you can't get back to. And so we have like a little tracking little system that you track, like put an X or like a lives thing, like an X. I was like, I'm not focusing on this engine. But that means like, if 3 things is filled up, your ship is about to explode early on. You're not going to survive the 12 hours.
What if instead of having the different solutions to each event or each problem, like role, item, ally, what if having each of those things reduced the amount of time it took?
Yes.
So
that reminds me of the Dread game I was part of.
Yeah.
We had to pull how many things. Like if you want if you want a gun, you have to pull out 5 blocks. If you want a knife, you have to pull out 4 blocks.
So it takes, 5 hours default to fix up the engines, but if you find the mechanic and you have a wrench and you were also a mechanic, I guess, only takes you 2, and then you have more time to spend on other people, other events.
I like that.
So how do we square spending time as a resource with the passage of time as the main impetus for events and things?
I think that there should be a way to get time back.
Right, yeah. Right, the time gremlins.
Yeah, the time gremlins. So one of the consequences is lose time. We got to figure out what a time gremlin does. Say it actually, time gremlins actually control time and can physically move the clock you have in the middle of the table.
So I have an idea, and this might change the overall kind of word. Hell, I hate when my brain does this.
Structure?
Conflict.
Sure.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if the issue is that you are a science vessel dealing with experimenting in deep space with here's an unobtainium called chronons, which are time particles. Something goes wrong, releases these time gremlins. You have enough time to get an SOS out, and then you have they tell you ETA is 12 hours. While dealing with the time gremlins, you also find kind of the chronons that kind of got loose and went wild. And you roll to find these chronons, and if you find chronons, you can use those to turn back the clock and give yourself more time.
Sure. I love the chronons. And if you find the cronuts in the mess hall, then you can have a nice little snack. And
Indeed.
and the end of your world seems less grim and terrible.
Yeah, because at least you've got a full
Plus
stomach
one.
at the end of it.
Yes.
Plus 1 morale.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay, so a reward, consequences. Rewards. Get an item. Turn back the clock. And let's say, because turning back the clock also makes rescue further away. But it gives you a second chance. So let's say it turns back the clock for everything except a rescue, because the chronons only affect everything in a certain radius.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, that worked. Yeah.
And we could say that because the ship was kind of the focal point of the time catastrophe, that the chronons only affect what happens on the ship, and then anything outside of that is untouched by time.
Right.
So ETA could still get there, but if and as as an alternative, not alternative, but as an word, I hate that. As an antagonistic mechanic, there are dark chronons, which will speed time forward. As kind of like as kind of like consequences that you can find, like unintentional. You roll a dice, you might find this dark chronon that speeds up time, and then you roll a dice to see how many roll a d4 to see how many hours the dark chronon speeds up time for you, or how many hours it takes away from you.
I think that might be a little extreme. I think just speeding up by 1 hour, no matter what the thing is, because you're still gonna have to roll, because stuff is gonna continue to go wrong, like as time moves faster, right? Or we could just say, well, yeah. We'll figure out the actual mechanics once we get more of a handle on everything else. But I like the idea of having a different kind of particle that does the opposite bad thing.
Yes.
The way this is shaping up to me, and feel free to tell me if anyone isn't feeling it, is like you've got your little play space that we can represent with like cards and dice, and at the start of the game you set out, you roll your character, you set out X number of problems, and then the gameplay mechanic is like moving from room to room, rolling on the random tables for events, and then choosing where to spend your hours and chronons to solve each problem. Mm-hmm. So like, so the one missing piece I have is if we roll for events in each room as the hours go on, what gets the player a reward? What do they do to tackle an event or solve one and get chronons or an ally?
That's a great question.
Here's a pitch. I'm not like in love with this. It just came to me right now. What if you spend X hours and that gives you like 3 dice to, like, if you spend 3 hours, you get to roll 3 dice on the scavenging table and pick one of those. You get to pick one thing. And if you spend 1 die, you only roll 1 die. Or you spend 1 hour, you only roll 1 die, but you get to still only get one thing. So you can kind of pick. Do you want to ensure a better option, or do you want to hurriedly find a couple random options and then use those and your remaining time to fix things? Does that even make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because coming out of my mouth, I was like, this sort of like, maybe, I don't even know if this actually checks out mathematically, but if we have your D20 table, right, like every hour you spend is 1 roll on that, and if you spend more than 1 hour at a time, you like roll with advantage, right? You just pick your highest. Or we could even say pick like the one you want of however many dice you roll, because higher isn't necessarily going to be better for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings to mind another question, kind of within that same vein. How do we determine whether or not the player is successful in completing said task?
Yeah.
Which then would move us
I
to
was thinking that
either
if you spend
the reward or the
this
consequence.
time doing it, if you spend this time doing it, then the task is complete. You don't have to actually roll to like fail completing the task. You only fail completing the task if you don't, spend this much time solving it in the allotted time. It's like the engine is broken. Something's gonna blow up in 5 hours. You need to fix it before then.
So maybe have it to where on the table of events, each event has an allotted time needing to spend on it in order to fix that particular event.
Yes.
And then that way you'd have to pick and choose what you do.
Each problem will have to have a time to solve and a time to time out. Like if you don't solve this by hour 8, then it's broken, but it'll take 4 hours to solve. So you need to use an action on it by at least hour 4, unless you get these modifiers to reduce that time and or spend chronons, which, can I just say again, I love chronons.
That's great.
You just love it when like a word comes to you like that and you're like, perfect. Okay, yeah, this is shaping up. I'm liking this. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So you're moving from room to room. You can either, as you've written down, you can search, you can scavenge for stuff, or you can solve an event. You can work on something by spending X amount of time. Searching for stuff gets you the things that will reduce the cost, and then in addition to those, you spend your overall time. With those modifiers, you can spend chronons to turn it back if you need more overall time.
Yeah.
Okay. We're cooking.
Okay.
I'm genuinely so amazed and impressed that this is coming together at all. It's almost like we're 4 smart people who love RPGs.
Yeah.
I mean, I apparently got the right crowd for this. This is amazing.
I didn't know what I was gonna bring to the table.
I was like, oh god, I've made 3 little things on itch.
I made nothing. I'm not a game designer game. I don't know.
It's wonderful.
There haven't been any bad suggestions yet. This is insane.
But it
There's a-
reminds me of Betrayal, House on the Hill board game. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
have that.
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Betrayal.
That's
Horribly unbalanced every single time, but
very horrible.
Yep.
100%.
Always
Yeah,
hilarious.
so much fun.
A balanced horror game.
my favorite Betrayal story, not to go on a complete tangent, but this one is worth sharing. We got the haunt where the house is picked up by a giant bird. You got to find parachutes and jump out. And we all like got to the final hallway with our parachutes. And then my friend was reading the rules, was like, it doesn't say you can't have more than one parachute, and started killing the other players to take their parachutes so he could jump out by himself. And we were all dying laughing. It was amazing.
The freedom of
I
Betrayal.
didn't even know that was one of the endings. That's insane.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. It's like
You're not supposed to kill the other players, but it was really funny.
Like, yeah, the freedom of Betrayal is crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like we have a good overall structure. I'm sure there's some spots that are fuzzy that we need to touch up. But now that we know kind of what your basic actions are and what you're doing, let's walk it back and try to go step by step of like what happens when a player okay, I am sitting down to play this game. Step by step, what am I doing? So first step is rolling for characters. Character creation. So let's
definitely
solidify what you're rolling for there. We got roll, we got starting items. Do we want to roll for your initial ship room, or are we past that? Sounds like maybe we don't need that as much anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to go in detail on that since we got the events. Your events is your rooms.
Okay.
right.
So you roll for your ship roll and your starting items, plural. And then you need to set up your initial problems, I guess, would be the first thing. So like you roll 1 or 2 or 3 initial issues to set out.
Mm-hmm. I have.
Or do we just start with?
Yeah, because I feel like if we're gonna do the mechanic where, because like we need a resource that we spend to do it. Like our time is also a resource we're spending, right? So like every hour we get to choose what we spend that hour doing, and something else happens. So like we choose what action to take, which it will be like work towards solving one of the problems, searching for items, or just searching the ship for other stuff. Those are the only 2 I could think of right now. But also every hour we roll on the events table, and the dice for that change. If we're doing that, then I would actually suggest maybe doing... depends on how into it we want to get, but we could make it a full 24 hours and do like 2d12, and then once we're past the first 2 hours, do a d12 and a d10, and then once they're past the first 4, do 2d10, and you keep going down like that. But we'll start with 12 because it's easy, but I just wanted to keep that in the back of my mind.
I think, yeah, I mean,
it feels like it'll go too fast.
Tracking 24. I guess it just depends on how we set out the event tables. I do like the idea of a simple 12 just because it can be represented with ticking down 1 die.
Yeah.
That just feels clean to me. But I did initially like having 24 hours to use, like spending wise. So either way of those is probably gonna work. So yeah, so that you roll your stuff. Start of the first hour, you roll the first event. And I guess we're gonna need. So yeah, so we need to separate. So start of every hour is rolling for a problem, and maybe there's a small chance on the problem table that nothing happens. So like, if you're rolling a d12, like 1 to 4 or like 1 to 8 is problems, 9 to 12 is something
Nothing.
nice or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you go through 12 hours, you are likely to get 8 problems, and we can tune that number however we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a result of the die getting smaller, those problems get worse. But
Right.
also there's more of a chance that nothing will happen.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a half and half, like 6 and 6. So for the first 6 hours, but then you could.
Let's get don't you want just like a replayable game? I know you guys wanted a 24 hours. What we could do is the quote unquote first 4 hours is your world building with getting your items. Like you got your items, that's your action. Try to find a crewmate. Those are the searchable action for 4 hours. And the 20-hour mark, the bust out the table, make you 20. And then that'll be our ticking to get more problems in, more to make it more stressful and just make this dice smaller.
Sure, we could also just start with a D20 as your time. 24 is, we like 24 because we like numbers we recognize, but
yeah, like just like just to like get the journal starting because they're typing
sure, yeah.
I like
for sure.
So like the first 4 hours is them talking about, because then just to get that fear in.
Yeah. Okay. Now, yeah, I've come around. I like it. We give
I like that.
We give 4 prompts for your setting up your ship.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. The 4th prompt will always be you got red lights is going.
Yeah. Something's going wrong. What happens to you?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then,
because I want to set up the time gremlins, because you could be like hearing laughter in the background and stuff like that. Someone's invaded your ship.
So
fine.
As we're rolling for problems, we want there to be a chance that something good or just nothing happens, so that you don't have to deal with 20 problems because you would never succeed at all those. But how do we ensure that you start with at least a couple of problems? Because like if you got lucky, you could roll a 20 and 19 and 8, like if it's the top half of the table, or even if it's not the top, if it's any part of the table, like you could just get lucky and roll no problems for the whole time.
Well, maybe that's part of the 4th prompt. You roll something on the problem table twice. So roll the dice twice, and then you get 2 problems. If you roll and you get none of like the problem items, you have to roll again until you get at least one other problem item on that very first table.
What if to save space in the game and to make sure that it gets worse as it goes on, we only have one table, and it is like the first, the first 10 spots are blank. Nothing happens. Only good things happen. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then after going down from, like, say, our when there's 10 hours left, it gets something kind of minor bad, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And if you roll a 1, something absolutely awful happens that you cannot fix. And what changes is the die you roll on that same table, depending on how much time you have left.
Yeah, I love the idea of rolling different die sizes on one table. I just worry that it would lead to like a really swingy like through line experience if you roll all bad or all good. I don't know how to decouple those from each other.
I think making sure that the good things are in, I guess, balanced spots within the table, to where no matter what die you're rolling, there's still a chance to roll something good.
Sure.
One of the rewards we could have is advantage and take the higher one.
What if you don't roll for the first problem? What if the first problem is always the same, and as part of your prompt 4 in the the setup, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the first problem always says engine room is busted, and it's a big one. It's like 8 hours to solve, so you know you can't do it right away, even if you roll something really good. And then, as you spend hours trying to solve the engine problem, then we have the full table where you might get good stuff, you might get bad stuff. So you'll get stuff to help you with the engine, but you'll also start popping up other problems in other rooms. And then it's it's more of a like juggling the smaller things while you go back to solve your main central thing. So like the central thing should be not engines. It should use our IP. So it should be like the time gremlin capture device or something like that. Like the chronon chamber is busted and you need to fix it. And
a time
that's going to take 8 hours no matter what.
Chamber and breaks it. Yeah.
Right. So we start you off with something guaranteed, and then you have your table, which will get worse as it goes on, and you're moving back and forth between your small things and your big thing while you collect things and then dart chronons and spending them and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that solves my problem. I feel good about that.
I also like the idea of these first 4 hours and character creation being on one side of the piece of paper, and then once the awful thing happens, flip the paper over, and now you're in panic mode the whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some art opportunity there.
That.
Okay, so first 4 hours, at the end of hour 4, a time gremlin breaks the chronon chamber, and then we start rolling at the beginning of each hour. We roll on the event table. We'll call it an event table because we want to have some good stuff mixed in there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're rolling a d20 until we hit 12 hours, then we roll a d12 until we hit 10 hours, etc.
Yes.
How can we spend the time? Or are we always going to want to solve a problem? Do we have... Because I like this search option to try to find something useful. And I don't know if we want to have another thing that we could do. Another way to spend the time.
I think splitting it between just searching and solving is plenty enough for a solo like this.
Yeah.
We don't want to give them too much to do and overcomplicate things.
Yeah. Let's just be crazy and do nothing.
Take a nap.
Like
So-
make it that Telltale games. I don't know if y'all played those video games before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
Say nothing.
Telltale. Yeah, the Telltale just had the say nothing button.
Love it. I did a whole playthrough where I used that as much as possible.
Me too. I did it like the whole time.
It was pretty funny when you get to the end and everyone's like, "I don't even know you. I'm not your friend. You don't say shit."
Yeah, they're like, "How dare you just be quiet?" The whole game was like, "You know what? You real." Yeah, it's so real.
Have an opinion for once, Jesus.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to see a solo journey of do nothing and just see the chaos keep going and see what their journal entries are as everything just malfunctions.
For sure, yeah.
So what the mechanic I pitched earlier was you spend time, and for every hour you spend, you get to roll an extra die on the goodies table. But are you then, if you spend 3 hours searching in a room, do you then have to make 3 event rolls as well, and that just happens in the background while you're while you're doing that. It feels like it could work. It could also be like annoying bookkeeping, depending.
And that seems very, very big. Like that's gonna be hammering even more of their time, which is be stressful. But like that, you got to keep up with it, and then nobody's just gonna do that route of getting like 3 items if there are 3 events happening. So like, what's the reward?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
so you might as well just
going to be
you might as well just have a search. Just
yeah. We decide every hour. So we won't be able to say
that's what I was gonna say.
or I'm going to spend the next 3 hours searching no matter what. Like you can always jump out.
Yeah. Okay. So then you can spend. Okay. So spending time is not in the aggregate. So if you're spending time, because we have the problems are also you need to spend time on them, and that is also just hour to hour. Every hour you spend, you fill in one segment on that clock. And then when it's full, it's solved. So you can solve you can spend 2 hours in the engine room and then leave and go search for stuff and come back and spend the rest of the time. It doesn't have to be consecutive. That's the part I was stuck on.
Yeah, because we have
you won't
like
have to, you don't have to. You can like patch the engine a little bit, and then it's good for now. We can leave it and come back, but we can't leave it like this.
Like each thing has to be done by halfway before you're comfortable to leave. I feel like.
Okay.
I mean,
I
as
like
it
that.
should.
No.
I was like, and then what I thought about it with the action and events is, I think they should just only get the one. You only get it one thing. So if that round you decide, so it's just like no more 3 thing. Because if an event happens every hour,
right. So you're
I agree with you with just you pick one. So if you search your item for an hour, cool. Now you pick up your event card, and then move on to the next round.
Right. So every hour, your basic gameplay loop is top of the hour, roll on the event table, and then if you work on a problem, you fill in a segment on that clock. If you search for an item, you roll on the item table, and then you just move to the next hour. And the items will affect how many segments you fill in when you work on stuff. Good. It's good. It's good. It's clean. It's simple.
Very
simple and clean is the way that it's making me feel.
You walk away.
Don't get me singing. I will get this whole stream demonetized.
Oh, it's okay. It's not monetized. I do this for fun.
Wonderful.
So I'm thinking, so each problem has essentially 2 clocks. One is the time in which it needs to be fixed, and the other is how much time you need to spend in order to fix it. Or do we want to simplify that into one and say, like, this breaks and you need to increase the... So, like, the engine breaks, right? You have 5 hours to fix it. All you can really do is extend that time and say, okay, you spent time working on it, now you have 7 hours to fix it. And once the engine is going to survive for 10 hours, then it's not broken anymore. Or something like that.
Oh, it could be... We could literally... It could literally just be... That could be our win condition. Is literally just juggling and making sure no clock fills by the end of the time. So if you... Rather than needing to solve every problem by the end of the 20 hours, it's just, if you haven't closed any problems, because all you have to do is keep them running until you can get off the ship. So if you... I think this is something. I think if you...
Okay. Yeah.
If we make, and that plays with the chronons as well, because then the dark chronons will add to the clocks. And you can spend chronons to take stuff off extra if you need it. That's working for me.
So
I'm like trying to cook exactly how that reads.
You're cooking my gas.
Yeah, none of the problems that happen can actually be solved by you as the player. They can just be delayed until they become catastrophic. So
yeah, you're just juggling your shit.
You just need to increase the clock till after you're gonna get rescued, and then just let everything melt down after you leave.
After you leave, yeah.
So rather than having clocks that you fill in, because that would be a lot of writing racing, we can represent each problem with a die. And then you're just ticking the die up or down as you spend hours on it.
Okay, I like it. And once you go over the die's maximum, the problem is actually solved. Or are all of them D20s? And they just start at different places.
I think we could just have them all be D20s, and just every hour they all tick down by 1, right? And
yeah, I think starting them at different places also kind of gives that mechanic of like,
exactly.
I can't spend. I have to. Again, it's the whole like picking and choosing what you tackle first to try and like slow down, so that you can then move on to the next thing to try and like patch and slow down.
I think this is really good, actually. I think this is really cool.
God, this is so much fun.
So how do we then? We just need to figure out how to determine. How do we set the starting values? I would love to say you roll for them, but then again, you could end up with like 20 20s and just be like, well, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So if we have your first problem is set, I guess maybe the events could have a value in the table that's like this problem starts at 6 or whatever.
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
Sure. So just each individual event knows how big it starts at.
Yeah.
And they take more. They start with less time. The lower on the table you are. So if you roll a 2, oops, you only have 2 hours to start working on
fix this
the
before
airlock.
it goes critical.
Yeah.
Cool. And the first prompt event that you get the what did we say? The Chronon Chamber?
The Chronon Chamber.
Time Gremlins in the Chronon Chamber. Time Gremlins in the Chronon Chamber. That could just be the title, honestly. That one we set at a solid like 6, or like that's like an 8. Like, or no, should that be less? Should that be harder to solve because it's your starter one? I think like 6 or 8.
The
like
first one.
Space.
It happens with 18 hours left to go. So I think 8 hours to solve is a good spot because that's a little bit under half of the hours you have left.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna start a page at the end of the document to just write everything down in order.
Okay. Yes, please.
So that
this is a whole big mess right now.
Yeah.
It's what brainstorming looks like.
Yeah.
Legit.
And then you forget about it for a month and come back and realize how brilliant your ideas are.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to be that long. I'm too excited about this to let it sit for that long. This is going to become a thing. Maybe not by the end of the night, but at some point soon. This is going to be a playable game.
Can't wait to play test it. I have my space outfit ready.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so first problem is always.
So Taylor, you were saying that like
18, and it's the time gremlin breaks the Chronon Chamber, which is an 8-hour fix. Or 8 hours
20,
to
right?
What
Catastrophe.
are you about to ask me?
So do we you described the initial 4 prompts as like splitting out our setup in there, right? So is that where are we going to leave? Are we still going to roll for character creation separately from the hour starting, or do you want to just go like hour one,
including that in that?
Yeah, hour one, roll your character roll and describe what you're doing on the ship.
Yeah, I think that's a good route. It's just give the when I do solo journaling, I like to have that warm-up prompt. So it can get you in that mindset. So I think that first hour is like, what do you see your daily routine on this spaceship? You've been here for a while. It's not your first day. And I think that we should make a stipulation that they cannot be captain of the ship.
Sure.
Because if you're a captain on the ship, you should know how to fix it.
Right.
I think the goal is like your captain's missing or you can't get access to your captain. So that's why you like... So now you're like, oh, I'm going to put a Band-Aid on this until I can find captain. That's all I can do right now.
I don't know. Like if we go by the idea like that we're taking from that Firefly episode, Mal didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He happened to remember a part that Kaylee needed to fix something on the engine that he figured out like halfway through the episode, I think. And was like, oh, if I just put this here, and then he had to like jog his memory as he's running out of air. So I'm not to say that like the captain is missing is a bad idea or a bad mechanic, just saying the captain might not necessarily know how the hell to fix anything either. He's just there to kind of like, he might just be there just like lead commands. That could also
a pretty
be part of
face,
the character creation. Yeah.
I think I think captain missing or dead is good like instant drama.
Yeah.
There is something to the like I like the idea of giving the player the opportunity to be like, I was supposed to be leading this and I screwed it way up. But I think like for a 1-page where we're not going to have enough prompt space to get into that, really.
Yeah, you're that's
I think
fair.
Like Captain Dread or drama, and like, you know, this isn't like a hard rules game. Someone wants to be captain, they can do whatever they want. It's their game. But like, as our setup, your captain's dead or missing. You are one of these other 6 roles, and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And also ask that other layer of fear.
Yeah.
That codependency. It's like, oh, that's my captain. That,
like, what are we gonna do? The captain's dead.
Ah!
No, that's.
It's like,
that's
I'm just the chef in the kitchen.
But I am the maintenance worker. What am I supposed to do?
Like, I can fix things, but like, you should call it in.
Yeah.
Just like there's procedures for this, but like,
yeah, no one put through a ticket for this particular problem.
Yeah. Probably like hour 2.
Don't have the paperwork.
Like hour 2 could be like, what is it called? Houston is talking to you.
Yeah,
Mission Control.
Base command.
Base command. Talk like to let you know there's a red alert on your ship, and then hour 3 your communication's cut.
Ooh.
And then
like
4 start.
I like that.
4 you start.
Like that.
Like the last words you get, just survive until blah 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 hours.
Survive ETA in blah hours. Yeah. Ooh. That's good. I like that.
So hour 1 is essentially character creation.
Yeah, your prompt is what is your character creation prompt is what is your daily job in life on this ship. You just woke up, finish a shower, what are you doing?
Here's how I was starting to break it down so that we can have the other crew characters in there. Is like hour 1 your daily routine and one other crew member, like one of the other roles that you didn't get. Hour 2 the items you start with and another crew member that you like got one of them from. Hour 3 either you get that message from mission control, or you're like working on the Chronon chamber, and then hour 4 is when things go to shit. But hour 5 is when like the start of hour 5 is when things actually cut out, right? Because the first 4 are still set up. So we can use 3 of them to set up your character and 1 to set up the problem.
Okay.
And then at the start of 5, you roll, you get your first event, and well, no, yeah, that still makes sense. You get your first event and you cut off contact, and it's red alert.
Yes. Yeah, hour 5 would probably put a little like asterisk or something saying like during this time you'll notice that your communication is lost. Just to add to the prompt of it. So they could type that out in their journal. Because if we start in hour 5 as like an action, like an actual turn order, so like you get an action, like what stops the person playing saying like my action is to call communication as my crew member, just to help them not waste their action.
So hour 1, daily routine. Hour 2. Sometimes I hate ADHD. Like I'm in love with everything that everyone is saying.
I've got the
gone.
I've got it at the bottom of the document in the as I'm going step by step.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ha, roll for your ship roll. Bet that pun's never been made.
Do a barrel roll.
We're really cooking tonight.
Yeah, this is amazing. All right, we got half hour left on the schedule. Are we all feeling good, or do we want to take 5 quick?
I'm fine. I do want to use the restaurant, but y'all can still keep going.
Yeah, go for it.
All
I
right.
think I will do the same.
Yeah, you can just walk away and come back.
It's just you and me, Dennis. I'm truly like, I should probably say this again when Sphinx and Taylor both get back, but like I always worry when I'm writing or designing that I tend to overwrite and like overcomplicate things, and I really struggle with short stuff. That's why I like doing 1-page things, because it really forces me to compress. And I'm really impressed with us, how we started. We had a bunch of kind of complex ideas around, and then I think we've really filed it down to something pretty straightforward and simple that still has a lot of opportunity for drama. Like, I really like this.
It does. Yeah, it's consumable.
That's it. That's the whole game right there. That's now the rest of this time, I think, is just drafting some basic like events and tables and things. We can get simple with it.
Yeah. I am thinking that, like, if so all problems that happen are catastrophic, like game ending. Is that how we want to do it? Or do we want to have other bad things happen?
I think we're probably going to struggle. We can ask both of them when they come back. I think we're probably going to struggle with page space if we have other bad things affecting things. We still haven't actually figured out like how chronons or dark chronons work. I guess that's just an event that can happen. Yeah,
Or
actually
it
that makes
could
sense.
be
Just
an
an event
item
that
you
like
find in
adds
searching.
ticks to any problem. Right. So good chronons are an item you find that you can spend. Dark chronons are an event that will advance the problems, like tick them an extra time. So we could have minor problems that give other penalties, but I think that would require adding a bunch of extra mechanics as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would need consequences and systems for those consequences to impact, and right now all we really have is items and time. So you could lose items, you could gain time. We would want to add at least like 2 or 3 other things, I think. So if we draft this up on a proper sheet and there's like space on the back, like I think that's definitely a place we could add things, but we do only have 30 minutes left, so
That's also true.
In the interest of fulfilling our initial objective, I say we start with these basics.
Yep, I'm on board for that. How's chat doing? We still got a lot of people hanging around, you lurkers. No problem with lurkers. We love lurkers.
I dig the lurk.
All right, starting to write some prompts. Some roles for the ship. We've got chef, mechanic, security. Maybe incompetent or unknowledgeable captain.
Stowaway.
Ooh.
Oh, I actually love that.
What else goes on a ship?
I like the stowaway. I like the stowaway.
All right.
That adds another level of like, I have no idea what I'm doing to this.
Helms,
or the
person.
like or you give the stowaway just like a weird like obscure skill that maybe helps with like 1 or 2 events, but has no real meaning or use anywhere else.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, hold on. So my intent with, and we can switch this out, of course. My intent with keeping it to 4 was that in those first 3 hours, you can describe each of the other NPCs on the ship so that if you find them later, you've already established them. I don't know what the stowaway is going to contribute if you find them as an ally. If we think we can come up with something, then great, we keep it.
Yeah.
It is pretty funny.
I mean, clearly, if you're only finding them, if you've been, I mean, it's let's assume by way of the game that you've been out in deep space for a while, and if you're only just now finding the stowaway, maybe their skill is stealth.
Sure, I was just thinking is actually I don't know what the chef can do either. So we have 2.
Right, I was wondering
2 on the list that are just
like,
as equally helpful. Look, someone said chef earlier, so I put it on.
I feel like each one of these roles needs to have a problem that they can, at least one problem that role specifically can solve extremely quickly. Either you can solve it as the player, or you can solve it because you found another living crew member.
Yeah. Science? Maybe they're really good at science. The chef is a scientist.
I mean,
there's
a lot of formulaic stuff involved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So amateur
cooking
chemist.
is a science.
Food
Food in the
alchemy.
future is really complicated, actually.
Star Trek would lead me to believe otherwise. Earl Grey, hot.
Well, replicators are weird.
I like chemistry. I think that works.
Yeah.
And then we kind of
I
have
was
two
also
dual
thinking-
things of chemistry and engineering, combat and stealth.
Like pilot or helmsman, and then we can have one of the problems be the ship is currently headed towards an asteroid or something dangerous, and you need to steer it.
Ooh.
I think we can give that to the mechanic.
Works for me.
Yeah. Probably like a mechanic / pilot role.
You know, if we were filling out a true ship roster, there's a lot more that we would want to include here. But this is just my instinct to keep it like when you have two groups of numbers that you can line up with each other, and you have a limited amount of page space, line them up.
Yeah. And this will also like give the player the assumption that like, while we have these roles, maybe everyone else fulfilling like the other standard roles on the ship are dead because of the event, the initial event. So it's just the 4 of you, if you can find the other 3.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. We
Putting
need to
together
add,
some
what was I gonna add?
events higher up. We've got find a dead crewmate, find a living crewmate, Dark Chronon, ship headed at asteroid.
So we need
That's
at
it
least
for events so far.
3. I guess we have 2 and like maybe like a 2 and 2 find the crewmates so that you have a chance of finding 2 alive or 2 dead, but you're always
Well,
you're never going
are
to find
one of
all
them,
3
so there's
dead or
only
alive.
3 others.
Right. So, oh yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So maybe
So maybe find an injured crewmate.
sure, yeah, third
So
option. Great.
Crewmate can't actually help with anything because too injured. Bring them to sick bay.
Oh, I like that. Wait, that's really cool.
Ooh.
That could okay. This goes against what I was just saying to you, Dennis, about not adding other systems, but that could create its own. That could be a problem that doesn't end the game if you let it run out. That just kills that crewmate. That could be a special use case.
Mm-hmm.
What was I gonna say here?
And we could have the tech gremlins that are running around injure or kill the people you found.
Oh, that's yeah.
Because I mean, like with the title of the game being Tech Gremlins in the Chronon Chamber, we need to have lots of events with tech gremlins.
So
Yeah.
what if there are just 3 possible find a living crewmates, and but then there's a bunch of other things that can kill them, and then we don't have to worry about how many there are. Or actually, here's another question: if you roll the same event twice, does that happen again, or are you crossing stuff off? Crossing stuff off would guarantee that you see every event by the end of the game.
But do we want them to see every event?
Exactly. I mean, that's just a question. That's just a design question. Do you want to see every event, or do you want it to be more random? I think the difference is: do we want a curated experience, or do we want this to be a roguelike, and you have a chance of just rolling dead the first time you play, and that's just what happens, and you're dead.
Yeah, and then just roll dead.
Yeah, it's a one page. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to it being roguelike. I kind of enjoy that idea.
Yeah, because like even like there's more than one engine in a spaceship, so it could be 2 engines are down.
And if you do re-roll a problem, instead, what happens is it accelerates its timetable.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really elegant. That was a problem I was wondering about, and that's really elegant.
Yeah. Do we just increase it? Like, do we double the amount, or do we just add like a 1?
I think we say like you add like. Yeah, add 1 or like add 2 to it.
Yeah.
I think I'm also like as fun as it is to have them come across a dead body. Mechanically, I think it would be better to say having the events be you find a living crewmate, and they can only die while they are with you. I feel like that also
I think if we have
leaves more space open for like the journaling aspect as well. If you like see them, you get to see them in their final moments.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was heading.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And it is an interesting mechanic in just like horror media, where like you'll find the survivor, and 9 times out of 10 they wind up dead as you're watching.
Yeah.
So that kind of leans into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, this is the fun part. Now we just get to come up with random crazy things that can happen on the ship. So throw them out. What do we got? What kind of kooky things are going down? Do we want? Here's another question as we think about this. This event table is going to have good and bad. What's that ratio? We want like 8 good, 12 bad, 10 and 10, 6 and 14.
I think 8-12.
8-12?
Yeah.
All right. 8 good things, 12 bad things.
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't think it should be perfectly aligned. Like we'll swap some of them in the middle.
Yeah,
so that we still have a chance to get good things as the die shrinks.
Yes, 100%. We will mix it up just for planning purposes here. I guess most of these problems need to be like problems to solve. So like at least like 15 on.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some catastrophic errors on the ship? Engine room is the one we talked about.
Life support failure.
Knocked off course, about to hit a black hole.
Damn.
Just Cash flying close enough to a black hole to like be able to be in danger if you steer wrong a bit.
I like that.
Okay. What else goes wrong on a ship? Fires in the mess. I don't know. In the med bay.
Fire in the med bay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hallucination gas comes in. You hallucinate.
Time hallucinations.
Ooh.
Rogue chronons causing time hallucinations.
You don't want to breathe chronons.
Rogue
so
chronons.
Many warnings that we read about that.
Also an excellent
ship.
Rogue chronons also could be an excellent title. What what else goes wrong? There's asteroid impact. And then these will all have some amount that they start the die value at.
Yeah.
What are some things that are catastrophic if you leave them alone, but you have to leave them alone for a long time? Reactor leak.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, reactor critical.
Warp core instability.
We gotta have something dumb in here, like you got a really bad paper cut.
You went to the kitchen and ate spoiled food. Lose 2 hours.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, what would the I like it, but I feel like it has to be
Spoiled
something
astronaut food.
Yeah, and if you don't solve it by going to the med bay and taking some
Pepto-Bismol.
medicine, you're gonna die.
On the
that's-
toilet.
because there's two problems that end the game. One is you die. The other is the ship breaks, like fully breaks.
Ship explodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Time gremlins turn you into a toddler.
That's a little extreme. We still gotta be able to.
I
fix
said that I was like, I don't
problems.
actually. How do you? I was like, I don't know how you fix that. Yeah, but something.
Well, maybe it's a
Find a
problem that
program.
like only lasts for like a certain number of hours, or you find a chronon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Spend 1 chronon. So this will give you a penalty to like fixing stuff.
Yeah, like it takes an hour away from you, or adds an hour. However that will work.
Yeah, you can't fix things until you find a chronon. Ooh, that's real bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or yeah, all work actions.
Or just worse, 'cause you're a
actions take
toddler.
2 hours instead of 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Toddler, tiny hands can't grasp your tools.
So like you're a baby, but you
Rogue
still have
AI.
all of your, normal
Rogue
ship
ship
knowledge.
AI.
Oh.
Maybe
Yeah.
one more time, gremlin shenanigan. What else? They're time
Ooh.
gremlins. I mean, come on. They have so many options. What else can they do?
Yeah,
Why can't
yeah,
we
yeah.
think of anything?
Yeah, literally.
Time Gremlin resets ship AI to factory settings.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Factory reset the ship.
Amazing. And time gremlins overage the ship. Roll twice on the events table.
Ooh. Like that one. I like that one.
That's really good. Okay, cool. All right, and then we need some good ones. These probably, I mean, like we can, if we pretty this up, we can add some flavor to these, but these should mostly be like you gain an item because that's what you're going to use to get like chronons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oop, don't do that. Don't break the whole thing that you just did. Sorry, these should be bigger as well. Ugh. There you go. Okay, so like find something under a bed. Chronon detector detects loose chronons in your pocket. Plus two chronons. Done. Easy. Who said game design was hard?
Find med pack.
Yeah.
Heal crew. So you to heal crewmate or yourself.
Or I think the better way to do that one. I really like it, but I think med pack should be on the items list.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean? So we also then need we have some kind of health system, right? Or like a wound level, at least. It's not. I mean, I love it. I love adding more mechanics, but we are at some point going to run out of page space.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, so let's. You know what? I'm gonna write that down.
Injury mechanic. That's like. That is its own problem. Like someone gets injured, whether it's time grem. Ooh, yes, someone someone gets injured as a bad one, and then to fix the problem permanently, you use a med pack. But the overaging your companion one is the injury that can't be fixed.
Okay, sure. Sure. Okay. I have at least one more find an item thing here. Maybe another chronon. And then maybe... Oh, we need more crewmate, actually. Find a crewmate, because those need to be spread out across the table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Flavor is free. We can always add flavor later, but that's 20 events right there.
That's legit.
Beautiful.
And then we need some rewards, and then we're pretty close to something playable.
Some items.
What items? So the way that I imagine this is items have like a tag that can be used to, like, we would give each of these problems a tag. Like reactor is a mechanical tag. Life support is a chemistry tag. Chronons is a chemistry tag. And then each item, if it has that tag, subtracts or it gives you +1 to working on that problem.
Right.
Oh yeah, working on a problem with that particular tag. Yeah.
So like a toolkit gives you +1 to any mechanical issue.
Duct tape.
seeing that this will require us to how the event table works actually, but it's fine. It's fine. This is a good draft.
Duct tape, also mechanical.
Spice kit. Duct tape. Mechanical. Laser pistol. Combat.
Yeah.
Uh,
Metal pipe.
Cloaking device. Stealth. Metal pipe. Combat.
Yeah.
Combat / mechanical.
Sure, yeah, it could be.
Colonel Mustard with the candlestick.
Would you kindly with a crowbar?
What are some like chemistry items?
Meds. Oh, well, they got med pack.
Stimpack.
Got my back there.
Well, we could have like we could have drugs.
Drugs.
Just drugs.
Or like stimulants.
Yeah, stimulants is good. That's smart. That sounds more sci-fi. Something else for stealth?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Trying to.
Ooh.
Fuzzy socks.
Yeah, I was about to say something about the shoes.
Sure, and then we also need some chronons. That's an item table.
Yeah.
I like it.
Amazing. This is damn near playable.
Yeah.
It's a game.
We got a game, everyone.
Hell yeah,
Holy
we did it.
handbaskets, you guys.
Yeah, I think
With,
the only
7
thing,
minutes to
if we want
spare.
like a health system, we would need to revamp how events work. I think.
I don't think
will.
there
I
should
think
be a
it's-
health system.
No.
I don't think they be. I think MedPack is only for like to help bring back a crew member.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Right, there's injured, and if you get injured again, you're dead.
Yeah.
This has been phenomenal. We are gonna continue tweaking this. We'll stay active in our chat together and bring this. And when it's done, I will certainly be posting it everywhere, including here on YouTube on my community page. YouTube's cool like that. But this has been phenomenal. I had no idea what this was going to be going into this, and I could not be happier. Like we made a game, guys. We made a game.
This was dope. Yeah.
I'm genuine. Like certainly, it will take some adjusting and testing, but I'm truly so impressed by how just like coherent this is. Like this. This works. It makes sense. It's pretty. The thing I'm most proud of is like overall how elegant it is. Like it breaks down pretty easy.
Yeah.
This is really cool. I really had a good time. I'm glad we got to do this, guys.
Yeah. Same.
This has been a ton of fun.
I can
keep an eye if you're
envision the
watching.
cover page is like an old sci-fi horror movie. Time gremlins in the Chronon chamber.
One of those 60s, like 50s movie
Exactly, with like the
posters.
huge font. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's like that.
Like you
Or
could
the
have it
birds.
as a poster in your room if you want to.
Exactly.
Print it out.
I'm gonna see if I can Photoshop something
Brilliant.
together like that.
That's
This is going to
amazing.
be so much fun. Oh, I want to play test this now, but I work in the morning. Damn it. Thank you all so much for watching. Especially thank you to the 3 of you for joining me. This has been amazing. It has been so much fun. Keep an eye on my socials, on all of our socials, for when this becomes a beautified and finished product. I'm going to be playing it multiple times. That's for sure. It'll be my first truly solo TTRPG. And as a real
Hell
quick
yeah.
Excellent entry.
sign off, I am Dennis, OKSDM. This is my channel you've been watching, but if you're here, you probably already know that. And you can find everyone else's, all their info is in the doobly-doo down below. Go follow them. All the people on screen right now are doing amazing and fantastic things in the TTRPG space and beyond. So go down to their links and check them out below. You won't regret it. Thank you all for watching. And remember, everything is going to be okay. Good night, everybody.